Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the We're Having a Good Time podcast. My name's Dusty Slay, and I'm pumped to be back. If you're watching, you can see that there's still nothing changed with the studio, but it is coming. The change is coming. I'm going to be doing stuff with it, but I'm still moving into this house, still in the midst of moving out of the old house. A lot going on. I got a show coming up this weekend in Biloxi, Mississippi. So if you're in that area, I don't get to Mississippi very often. Come check it out. Next week, I'm going to be in Auburn, Alabama. A bit of a hometown show for me. I don't think that show's sold out, but I think it is very close to being sold out. So if you want to come to that show, to both shows, I think both shows are selling very well. So if you want to get tickets, get them now. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a new hour. If you watched Wet Heat, or if you're on the fence about watching it, say you're like, I want to come to a Dusty Slay show, but I don't want to watch Wet Heat because I don't want it to mess up any jokes for me. It's all new jokes. Or say you're like, I just watched Wet Heat. I don't want to see a live show because, you know, he's not going to have new jokes. But I do have new jokes. I have a full new hour. So it feels good. And you know what? I wouldn't say the hour is I wouldn't record a special right now with this hour. I wouldn't go, my new hour's already ready to be a special. But it's very good. And the hour is an hour and 20 minutes. So it's a long show. I'm going to have Connor Larson with me in Biloxi, and I'll have Vince Fabra with me in Auburn. So you'll love that. It's going to be hot shows. I have been writing down things to talk about. I think I didn't get very many comments about Milwaukee, so that's fine. I did get a lot of tipping things. I thought that Milwaukee, I wasn't trying to be controversial with it, but I thought it would be a little more. But I think people get what I'm saying. A couple people didn't. One person thought I moved to Milwaukee, and another person, I think, really thought I was trashing Milwaukee. I'm the opposite. It's the opposite of trashing. And because I want to give some other examples. But it's like the opposite of trashing. It's almost feeling sad about whatever has happened to Milwaukee, to where it was like you could see that it used to be so beautiful, and that something has happened, you know, in the last several years that's caused it to be on somewhat of a decline. I did cities this past weekend when I did Prestonburg, Kentucky, and I did Princeton, West Virginia, and I drove all through those places. I didn't drive very far into West Virginia, but I drove, you know, through Kentucky, through Virginia. I passed a restaurant, Shiloh's, that I think I went with Alec Parent. I think we went to Shiloh's, and I think that's who it was that was with me. And a lot of people commented that was a spot they like to go to, but I passed right by it, kind of intersecting in a way. But I think Kentucky, West Virginia, beautiful places, beautiful scenery. But you know, what I would say is like Prestonburg is a place that I visited. Very small place. It was hard to even find a hotel, right? I don't look at a place like that and go, this used to be a huge bustling city and is now on the decline. I would say almost that they seem like they're on the incline. They seem like that you know, it's maybe been just a small town for a long time, and now it feels like construction's coming in. They're building up. They're expanding. The same for Princeton. I mean, where I was staying at my hotel in Princeton, there was another hotel being built right next to it. So it feels like there is action and things are building up. In Princeton, they had two policemen in the back, just as protection for me. They had one on either side of the stage. I felt like it was entirely unnecessary, but I appreciate it. And that's what I think is missing in a lot of the big cities is it's like, where is the security? You know, when I go to, I just went to Austin. I posted about it on Twitter, what I did, and I think I even talked about it on the podcast. And then someone was like, you're not supposed to, they go, I don't think you're supposed to post about this for another week. And I go, oh, whoops. No one told me that, so I deleted it. But I will say I was just in Austin, and I think Austin's great. I spent some time in Austin one time. I've been there a few times, but one time I really spent some time. I spent a few days there, and I ate the food. It always messes up my digestion when I eat there. But I ate there, but I'll say downtown is a bit of a mess, and it seems to get worse all the time. I think I was there in 2019. I did a Moon Tower Comedy Festival there, and I noticed how many homeless people were on the street. I was like, wow, there's a lot of homeless people. And maybe I had done, I guess I did Austin before that with Bert Kreischer at a theater. That was probably my first time to Austin. But when I was there with Moon Tower, I was like, man, there are a lot of homeless people out here. And then each time I've gone back, I've really noticed that. But this last time, 6th Street feels like the worst. It's like obviously there's a couple of comedy clubs there. That's where the Comedy Mothership is. Love that place. Love that club. Been there a few times. Every time I'm there, they really treat me well. They're really nice to me. All the other comics are fun. I did a little open mic while I was there at the Comedy Mothership. I did 5 minutes on the open mic. Very nice. Everybody's very nice. But man, the streets, there are just homeless people everywhere. Now, it's not even like a tent city. Some of these cities I go to is tents everywhere. It's not even like that. Now, there may be a spot. I just didn't see it. But I was hanging out at my hotel, still downtown, but we were kind of on the street, trying to stay away from the front entrance of the hotel to smoke. We were having cigars, me and my friend Alec Parent. He came to meet me. And, we were approached by 3 different people, but so many different people walked by. And then there was a guy for about 30 minutes who drove up and he unloaded a bunch of Lime scooters. And he was just setting them up. He was setting them up in front of us, like for people to start using. It wasn't so late, but it was like, I don't know, 12. We went out there about 12 p.m. and then we sat there till about 1 a.m. And this guy's setting up the Lime scooters. And then one old homeless guy came on. He goes, oh, free rides. And he just jumps on one of the scooters and takes off. And then another lady came walking by who was homeless, and she jumped on the Lime scooter and took off. And the guy ended up driving the scooter back, and then he goes, free rides are almost up. And I was just like, where did he go? Was he just driving around the city? He made it seem like, because the woman that took hers, it was like, she was like, I got somewhere to be and this is going to help me get there. But the guy came back. I saw a guy on drugs, like rolling around on the ground. And this was earlier. This was at like 7 p.m. Just kind of like walking down the sidewalk. There's a guy just kind of like rolling around on the ground. And I felt so bad for him. I stopped and looked at him for a minute. I said a little prayer for him. It just makes me feel bad to know that it's gotten this bad. They are on drugs and you're just rolling around on the concrete out here. And then I walked back and he had like worked his way up on his feet. And I was like, okay, good. Like he pulled it together. But man, I'm just like, as much as I've been to cities, like I'm not so desensitized by seeing homeless people that it doesn't still make me sad. I'm like, man, and there are so many. But then I saw a video of these people, this homeless couple, and they'd been given a house or an apartment, and they were like, the guy filming them was asking them about it. He was like, oh, what do you think about it? And they were like, I don't know, it's almost better to sleep outside. And the guy's like, come on, guys, it's got to be better than that. They go, no, it's pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. We got more freedoms out on the street. He's like, you got running water, you got a bed, you got air conditioner. This has got to be better. And they're like, nah. And he's like, yeah, but you could get a job here, and it's got to be easier from here to get your own place. And they go, nah, about the same. And I was like, okay. So there's a real crisis going on out here, and I don't know if it's just a housing crisis. For sure, there's a housing crisis. I mean, it is. Oh, man, everything seems so expensive. We're about to sell our old house, and I had one, our living room was fairly large, not so large, but fairly large, right? And the rest of our carpet looked good, but that carpet was a bit stained up, so we thought, well, we'll just replace the carpet there. So I went to Lowe's, and I go, hey, I just want to get, just kind of like some basic apartment carpet. And the lady showed me just about the most basic carpet they had. And when I did the math for my square footage, it would be about $1,500 for the carpet. And that's not even delivery and having someone put it in. And I was like, what? I was so shocked by it. I had my whole carpet shampooed today for $500, and that was the whole house. They did the whole house versus one room for $1,500. I was so shocked. I guess I never bought new carpet before. I've always just lived in apartments, except for my house, and I just never replaced the carpet there. And then when I remember back in the day, I bought a trailer and we replaced the carpet in there, but I got someone's old carpet. They got new carpet and gave me their old carpet. Like their old carpet was still better than the carpet I was taking out of there. So I don't know that I've ever bought carpet, but I was blown away by it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I don't know what people are doing out here. Maybe this is why everybody's going hardwood floor now, I guess, or tile or linoleum, because I was just like, that's insane. That is insane. They say carpet's bad for you anyway. I personally love carpet. I love a room with just a big carpeted area that I can just lay on the floor. I love to lay on the floor on some carpet. They say it's bad for you. A lot of chemicals in it. Probably is. But I do love it. I love to lay down on the carpet. I love to spread out. Just my whole body. They say we're supposed to sleep on the floor. They say it's better for us to sleep on the floor than a bed, and that the first couple of nights you'll be in a lot of pain, but as your body starts to realign itself, it'll be better. I'm sorry, I'm just sending a text. I told someone I'd talk to them at 1:30, and that's what time it is right now. And I just got started with the podcast, so I'm trying to reschedule that. But they say that you're supposed to sleep on the floor. And you think back, I mean, when was a bed invented? I don't know. People must have been sleeping on floors forever. Or the ground even. Think about how grounded we used to be. That's what I think about sometimes when we talk about grounding and just walking around barefooted and how that's good for us. And people even scoff at the idea. And it's like, that's what we used to be doing. We used to just be walking around out here barefooted or like leather soles. And we slept on the ground, I would guess. I mean, I met a guy. I was doing comedy with a guy in Maine. He told me he's from India. He just moved here from India. He said he's going to college at Boston College, some college in Boston, a university. Probably, I think it was a very nice one, a good one. I don't know what it would be, but like a good one. I remember hearing it going, oh, yeah, that's a good one. And he told me he's sleeping in his car. Or no, not his car. He doesn't have a car. He's sleeping at the library. He lives at the library. I was like, what? You don't have your own place? He goes, no, I just sleep at the library. And I was like, well, that's crazy. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I moved here from India. And he said, we all lived in one room. Our house was one room. And our parents slept in the bed and all the kids slept on the floor. I was like, that's insane. I tell stories about growing up in a trailer, and listen, I've made jokes that make me seem poorer than I was, but I'm always upfront about it. I think I had good parents, and it's like, yeah, I lived in a trailer, but I had a lot of Super Nintendo games. I got to watch pay-per-view wrestling. People weren't doing heroin at my house. So it's like, it wasn't bad. We were just poor. It was just mainly, I felt insecure that my house was made of tin and was sitting on wheels. That was mainly it. But I liked it. It was scary during a storm, but it was good otherwise. And, this guy is like, now in college and has been sleeping on the floor his whole life. I watched a video of a lady in Africa. She was showing how they refloor the hut she was living in, and she was using cow poop and mud and smoothing it out on the floor. It looked good. And that lady may not have any other options. But I'm just saying, I don't even know how I got into this, but I just feel very fortunate. But at the same time, sometimes when you look at these videos, you watch videos of specifically African tribes. You see them living in very poor conditions, and a lot of them look pretty healthy, though. Sometimes you'll see, they used to show us Ethiopia when we were little kids, and everybody looked bad there. But a lot of times I'm watching these videos, and I'm like, this is some of the poorest stuff I've ever seen. But the people look healthy. I imagine that's because they're walking around, they're grounding all the time, they're getting plenty of sunlight, they have no vitamin D deficiencies, and they're having to work so hard to get food that they're not sitting around. They're not living this sedentary lifestyle. I think comfort is a killer. Comfort is a killer. We got to be out there. We got to be getting at it. But gosh, it's hard to give up comfort when you have it. You're like, nah, I like this. I like this comfort. And it is good. Being comfortable feels good. That's true. That's a true statement. This hat I'm wearing, this is my original merch hat. This was the first merch design I ever had. I got this done at a place in East Nashville, and I liked that place. But I'm not saying this is a bad design, but they never could quite come up with the design I was looking for. That's when I got with my new merch company, Future Shirts. They designed some stuff for me right away, and I was like, oh yeah, well, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Why could they not get this? I told them one time, because the hat says, Dusty Slay All Day. Slay All Day was a pretty popular phrase at the time, and so I thought, well, I'll make, I was like Little Dusty, Big Slay is what I said to them. Little Dusty, Big Slay, and then All Day. So you're just seeing Slay All Day, but the Dusty is on there. Dusty Slay All Day. I was attempting some branding. But I told them that, and they sent me back a design, and the design had the word little, and then Dusty, and then the word big, and then Slay. And I was like, okay, So you guys did not get this at all. You did not get at all what I was trying to say. So it was frustrating to work with them. That's why, I've had these AI discussions about posters and about different kind of designs for things. It's like, obviously, the real artist is always the way. Finding a real artist is always the way. Because ultimately, the real artist is going to do a better job. But if it's something simple, like a show poster, sometimes AI is the way. And the only reason is because it's like, especially if it's a simple show poster that you need weekly or even more often than that. Because if it's a real artist, they have to spend time working on the poster. And then if you don't like it, it's pretty hard to be like, I don't like this. Do it again. But with AI, you just put the prompts in again and just see what else pops out. You may never get exactly what you like, but you're not making a person create things over and over again. But yeah, I did shows in Prestonburg, Kentucky. Had a great time. Loved the show. I stayed at an Airbnb. I took my friend Zach Townsend with me, who has a Don't Tell comedy out now. You can find it on YouTube. Zach's very funny. Zach's pretty clean when he works with me. I don't want to say he's very clean. He's pretty clean when he works with me. But when he's not working with me, pretty dirty. So if you go watch that Don't Tell, just be aware. Not that I think that the people that listen to me are that worried about it, but I just want to tell you. But Zach's very funny. And then we went in Prestonburg, it's like we didn't spend any time anywhere because the way I'm having to do shows now is it's like I drive. Well, this time I drove because there was no airport close to Prestonburg or Princeton. So we drove up, it's a 5-hour drive. We got to our Airbnb, a place called The Berg. That's what they called their Airbnb, The Berg. It was very nice. And then, I just sit in that room for a couple of hours, shower, maybe take a little nap, and then you go to the show. So we didn't see anything. I did drive around. I did take a loop around the town just to take it all in. And on the way there, we stopped at a Huddle house it was called the Huddle House, but it was in a town called Hazard, Kentucky. And we were sitting in the Huddle house, and there were a couple pretty attractive waitresses in there. And I only say that because, people in Huddle House and Waffle House, not that there can't be attractive people in there. There often are, but most of the time it's filled with just a rough bunch of people. I'm not trying to make fun of them, but I'm just saying they're a rough bunch of people. Our particular waitress, very nice, but looked like she had lived a rough life. She had a barbed wire tattoo on her neck, not all the way around, just up the side, and several other tattoos. And we asked her what town we were in, and she said Hazard, Kentucky. And I go, oh, man, because there's a David Allan Coe song called Daddy Was a Preacher Man. I think that's what it's called. And at the beginning, he has a little thing where he says Hazard, Kentucky is the baddest place in the world. And then he says his grandfather shot the chief of police when he was 9 years old. And Hazard, Kentucky, I've heard other things about it. And then I asked the waitress about it, and she said, yeah, we have the worst drug problem in the whole country. I don't know if that's true, but that's what she said. And then she goes, oh, we have a Mother Goose house. And she pulled up a Mother Goose house and showed me on her phone, and she goes, that's what we're famous for. And I go, well, I didn't say this, but in my head I go, sounds like you're famous for drugs. I don't know that the Mother Goose house is really what I'm into. Like, I don't want the drugs, but I am into that kind of story. I feel like the old manager of the Syracuse Funny Bone was from Hazard, Kentucky. He got fired for throwing a guy out. I think physically threw him out. He was an aggressive guy. I liked him. Very nice guy, but he was an aggressive guy. I picked him up, and he took me to the grocery store to buy some things, and he was telling me about the incident. And I thought, yeah, this guy's going to get fired soon. And then he did get fired soon. I was still surprised when I found out he got fired. I don't know why, but I was thinking, yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, I don't know. I don't remember the story completely, but I liked him. But he is gone now. And but he was from Hazard, Kentucky. The baddest place in the world, some people say. Even though David Allan Coe put this song out in the 70s, so that's at least, 50 years ago. So it could have changed. It could be real cleaned up, but not according to my Huddle House waitress. And then, so we did the show. A few people in the audience cheered for Hazard. I like it. I'm into that sort of thing. I'm into that sort of roughness because I am more of a country guy than a city guy. So when I hear about like a country town being real rough, it doesn't sketch me out as much as a city does. But I guess also I'm not walking around the country. I am walking around a city. And then we drove on up to Princeton, all through the mountains, stopped at a little gas station where we had to pee. We had to pee pretty bad. Stopped at a gas station. We were driving along this mountain road, and I've seen a lot of kudzu in my life, but we were driving around this mountain road, and there was kudzu on all sides, covering everything, coming down the mountain, covering all the trees. And it was like covered up these certain trees, and I guess Zach is from Connecticut. I don't think he had ever really seen kudzu. And the way they were covering the trees, it made them look like giants. It was pretty insane. I'm even familiar with kudzu, and I thought it was pretty crazy. And but they look like giants. We had to pee. We pulled into this gas station. We had no signal. And it was just a one toilet in there, so we took turns. So when I went in first, and then Zach went in next, and I pulled around front to pick him up. And I was going to get food in there, but they had only fried food. It looked like some nice older ladies working there, but all fried food, and fried in a weird way, in a weird way that every item in there looked exactly the same. I almost couldn't tell anything apart in there because it was all fried so thick that everything looked the same. I could barely be like, okay, this is fries, this is catfish. It was like, but it was tough to tell. So I was like, I'm not going to do that to my digestion. So I pull around front, and then there's a kid who kind of looks like he could be my brother, comes walking around. He goes, "You need gas?" And I go, "Nah, that's okay." And we're in the middle of nowhere. And this guy goes, "Anybody ever tell you you look like this comedian guy?" People love to say that to me. I'm very recognizable, but a lot of people don't know my name. They go, "You look like this comedian guy." I take pictures with people sometimes that I know they don't know my name. They just know they saw me on TikTok. And me and that guy talked for a little bit while we were waiting on Zach. And it was exciting for me because I think it was pretty exciting for him. He's in the middle of nowhere, in a mountain filled with kudzu, working at a gas station, pumping gas. And then he met what I imagine to him is a celebrity, right? That's not the way I think of myself. But I just think, he goes, "What are the chances?" And I go, "I don't know." But I enjoyed talking to that guy. And it just kind of gave me this feeling like, I think sometimes, because I've been there, right? You can feel like you're in a hopeless situation. You go, I'm born somewhere. I don't have much going on for me. I don't have any money. Nobody in my family is going to be doing anything for me financially. What is my life going to look like? But you really can do anything you want. You don't even, a lot of times now, you don't even have to leave your hometown. But you can do anything you want. The internet has made it so you can make money off the internet, and you can figure out what to do. And you know what? Pumping gas at the gas station that seemed like it might have been a family-owned gas station is okay. That's a fine life. You just running a gas station, running a store. I mean, you know, the globalists will take it all from us at some point anyway. We won't be able to own any private property. They'll take it all from us. But in the meantime, just enjoy that gas station. Pump that gas, you know? Make videos about how you still pump gas. My sister, I got a younger sister. One time she had like 20 dogs. And I told her, I go, you should film yourself feeding the dogs. Get in the pen with the dogs, feed the dogs some meat, film it. I go, that's content. That's stuff people watch. She wouldn't do it. Now she's a manager at a tractor supply. And I think she likes it. I'm very happy for her. That's something I was doing, you know. Basically, at her age, I was doing that same thing, except I was a raging alcoholic and was having a blast. I mean, really having a blast out here. Why? I was a wild guy, and it was a lot of fun. And then we went on to Princeton, Kentucky, and we stayed in a hotel. We really didn't do anything there either. Oh, we ate at another Huddle house on the way to Princeton, West Virginia. We ate at another Huddle house. I had two Huddle houses. I had not eaten Huddle house in a long time. I had it back to back. I had the patty melt both times. If you ever stop at a Huddle house, get the patty melt. Nowadays, they're putting mayonnaise. It's coming standard with mayonnaise. I don't know why people are doing this. I don't know why people do this with mayonnaise, but it's coming with mayonnaise on it. So I got no mayonnaise, and it's just two patties, some cheese, pickles on toast. They didn't cut it in half either. I don't know why people are not doing that. I had to cut it in half both times. Huddle House, they're not giving you a knife and fork in your little paper envelope. It's just a fork now in the paper envelope. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know why that's a thing. Give me a knife and a fork, but I had to cut my own patty melt. And then you take a little Heinz 57 sauce and just put some of that on your plate. You don't need a lot. And then you dip each bite of the sandwich into that Heinz 57 sauce. Not a lot. You don't want to overwhelm it. You still want to taste the patty melt, but that 57 sauce gives it a little tang, a little zest, makes it feel good, you know? So that's what I'm into. I love a patty melt from Huddle House. Huddle House over Waffle House any day of the week. I'll fight people over it. It's better. Stop pretending like it's not better. It's better. Oh, yeah. Speaking of breakfast all day restaurants, Cracker Barrel's really gone through it. Apparently, I just found out last night that they've decided to keep the old logo. I'm filming this on a Wednesday. I found this out on Tuesday night. They've decided to keep the old logo. I like Cracker Barrel, and I want Cracker Barrel to use me again in a commercial. So I don't want to talk bad about them. But it feels like this whole thing was some kind of scam just to get people talking about the Cracker Barrel. It's like, because, you know, you announce that you're going to be replacing the logo, which I assume means you would have to replace every tall sign and every sign on the front of the building all across the country. And that just seems wildly expensive for no reason. The logo, to me, the new logo they created was fine. But it wasn't, like, great. It wasn't cool. It was just like a regular old logo. I mean, I could have did that on ChatGPT real quick. It's like the old logo had character, and people were texting me, oh, why is everybody so mad about Cracker Barrel? And, you know, all I had was my mom really to talk to about it. And, I think there's a thing, right, that Cracker Barrel's been around a long time. Everybody tapped into how Cracker Barrel was started by an oil company, and they were making fun of everybody. It doesn't... People don't care who created Cracker Barrel. It's like, it's been a thing for them for years and years and years. They were able to go there when they were a kid, and now they're still able to go there. I've been able to go to the Cracker Barrel since I was a kid. It's like this restaurant you kind of grew up with. Now, I'm kind of tapped out of corporations for the most part, but you know, there was something about the Cracker Barrel that still felt like a little down home. You go in, you go, oh yeah. You know, still feels a little down home. Feels a little bit like Gatlinburg in a restaurant. So I just think people were offended that they were changing up what they knew. And I just am personally not in favor of overly simplistic logos. Me and Hannah were driving around today talking about stores. Like there's a Taco Bell near our house. There's a Starbucks near our house. There's everything around us. We're noticing that all restaurants, chain restaurants, are just becoming these boxes, and then they don't have any particular uniqueness about them, and then their sign will be stuck right on the side. So it's like if that restaurant shuts down, all they got to do is either the corporation, the umbrella corporation, all they got to do is bring in, say, another one of their chains, or they sell it to somebody else and they just pop their sign on the outside, and you probably don't even have to make any changes. You definitely don't have to rebuild the whole thing, like an old Captain D's or something like that. When I see a restaurant that's built in an old Captain D's, I can tell it's an old Captain D's. So it just feels like everything's going to like this kind of plug and play kind of restaurant where you just, you know, probably the same truck delivers the food. You just, you know, season it a little differently. And it just feels boring. I'm not upset with Cracker Barrel over a rebrand, you know, because to some degree, probably the majority of people that go to Cracker Barrel now are older. I don't hear young people talking about heading out to the Cracker Barrel, you know, so they're trying to rebrand and go, we got to get the next generation. But it felt like the logo thing was like, let's just drum up some interest. Let's get some people talking about it. I don't know. I do think that Cracker Barrel has a great chicken and dumplings. And I don't like people online criticizing Cracker Barrel. Like, people online are like, oh, the people that are mad about the sign are so stupid. And it's like, yeah, but the people not mad about the sign probably don't eat at Cracker Barrel. So it's like, don't jump up in here if you're not invested in Cracker Barrel. You know what I mean? I hate people making fun of Cracker Barrel. I do hate it. I can get into a conversation with you about whether food is good for us and what kind of trucks delivering the food. I can go all down those, but I just hate people making fun of it. And then especially when they're like, oh yeah, we found out it was made by an oil company. They just want to make fun of people. Oh yeah, you think Cracker Barrel likes you? They hate you. And it's like, maybe, maybe. That's what I was seeing online. Oh, these people think Cracker Barrel likes them. They hate you, buddy. They hate you. And it's like, yeah. I mean, you could make the argument that all corporations hate us. And I'm down for that conversation. But if you think Cracker Barrel hates you and Chipotle loves you, you're mistaken. You know, if you think Walmart hates you and Target loves you, you're mistaken. Dollar General doesn't love you. Dollar General is just wiping out general stores all across the country. Some family has some small town store somewhere, and then Dollar General pops up, and everybody starts shopping there. And then it's all a scam. It's all a scam, guys. It's all a scam. But I did make a video where I said all Cracker Barrel did was take out the cracker and the barrel from the logo. And people were like commenting like, that's not all they did, buddy. And I'm like, yeah. That's my point, though. The point of that video was to say all they did was everything. Like the logo was the name, and then it was a cracker and a barrel. And they removed them, both. and that's everything. So that was my point. But sometimes I don't know if my sarcasm is good enough. I try to lay it on, but sometimes I don't know if it's hitting. I don't know if it's hitting in the way I want it to. Let's see if I got some, see if I got any podcast notes I could hit. Well, you know what? I want to do an episode one day on, I want to do another episode on some jobs I've used to worked. God, what kind of sentence was that? Some jobs I used to worked. Goodness, I'm struggling. I've been traveling a lot. But I wasn't on Nateland this week because I had to go to Austin and do a thing on Monday, and so I had to miss it. And then they did a double episode because they're not doing a Labor Day one, so they did 2 episodes in 1 week, and so I'll be gone for 2 weeks on Nateland. I didn't get fired for the Seinfeld thing. I read a lot of comments, very entertaining to me, but no, I didn't get fired for that. I just had to be gone. I think I talked about it last week, but now I feel like I can't talk about it, but it's going to be exciting. I'm pretty pumped about it. And my Harlan Williams podcast came out, which is really funny. Another one just came out too. I forgot what it one's called, but I got a couple of new podcasts that just came out. I've been doing all kinds. I've been all over the place. I think there's only one more left to come out. And then I'll try to get on some others somewhere. I'm trying to do a few more local Nashville ones, and it's fun. I like doing all these podcasts. I like messing around. I like playing. Harlan Williams one was really fun because he really wanted to play around. He didn't want to do too serious of a podcast. He didn't even say that to me. He launched into that, and I like that. I mean, even my own gets a little too serious sometimes, but I try to be ridiculous about the amount of complaining that I do to make it seem like, hey, I am just joking. I mean, sure, I'm mad about it, but I am just joking too. Because I like doing improv. I used to do improv, and I think it's really fun. I think, the key to doing a podcast with multiple people, whether it's just 2 or more, but it's like, it is about group play. It's like how, like if you're doing an improv scene, the goal of an improv scene is not to elevate yourself. The goal of the improv is to make a good show. You want to make a good show, so you support each other all along the way. You're always building each other up so that the show itself is quality. You might emerge as the funny one of the scene, but it shouldn't be because you were trying to be the funny one. There's a term they would say, like pimping out the other players, where you always come out the funny one at the expense of the overall scene and all the other improvisers. And I was not always that great at improv, but because I couldn't do characters, and because my improv teacher would say, I can tell when you don't know where you're at in the scene. Like, if me and 2 people are talking to each other, he said, if you establish where you're at, if you say, hey, we're here at the farm, then he said, then your character will settle in because your character now knows where they're at and what they're doing. He would say, but when you don't know where you're at, when you don't establish it, I would pace. And that's how I do on stage now. I mean, I pace the same way on stage and stand-up that I used to pace in improv. And I feel like it takes people out of the scene. So that was always a struggle of mine. But I was always good at working with other people. And I enjoy that. That's why I like bouncing around and doing these podcasts with other people. In particular, LA, I think because everybody's a little more actory, so everybody's a little more performative. I like that. I had a lot of fun in LA when I went doing things. I mean, And typically I just complain about LA all the time. But this last time I had fun. I headlined the Comedy Store, and then I did another show for the Dodgers. I think I talked about that. But I met a lot of the Dodgers. There's a guy named Will Smith who used to play for the Dodgers. I met him. That was really fun. So I want to talk about some jobs I used to work. I need to write these down so then when I come down here, I got it. Because I got I got a fun little story about Office Depot. And I'm going to start going back through a lot of my old stories because I didn't video them all. So many of my good stuff I gave away before I was videoing, and I have picked up viewers. The podcast is picking up pretty well. I mean, my YouTube numbers alone I can't assume that everyone that was downloading this has just gone to watch it on YouTube. But my downloads have increased on both areas. I mean, there was zero numbers for YouTube before, and now the numbers are looking pretty good. So I want to try and recreate some of those stories so people can hear it, and they're usually better when you tell them the second time around. And then I want to talk about country music. I want to do a podcast on, because I always talk about this not being country, this not being country, this not being country. But what is country music? And that's something that I have to ask myself, because I was on a podcast or doing a radio show where a guy asked me about it, and I said, the thing about it is I always say that my favorite era of country is 90s country. But when I stop and take a look at it, so much of the music I enjoyed in the 90s actually came out in the 80s. Like so much of Alabama's music came out in the 80s. So much of George Strait, Alan Jackson is from the 80s. Now, there is a lot of 90s exclusive people, but so much of that stuff came from the 80s. And that's what I love. And a lot of the 90s country that I listen to, I'll say to myself, if this came out today, would I say it's country? And a lot of it, I say no. Like Black Hawk. Do you remember Black Hawk? They were a trio, and they have some really good songs. That's Just About Right is one of them. That's a really good one. That's Just About Right. I recommend just when this podcast is over, just go listen to that, Just About Right by Black Hawk. Really good. But would I say it's country? And I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't. I could use That's Just About Right as some soft rock, I think. And so much of the country is like that, because what really makes things country to me, a lot of the 90s country's missing it. I think it's the instruments, Alan Jackson, a lot of his songs, he would really let people jam for a minute. Merle Haggard would really let people jam for a minute. You don't get a lot of that now. You don't get a lot of those jams, just the singer stopping for a minute and stuff just jamming. I tried to listen to Morgan Wallen the other day. I feel like I'm now able I was supposed to do this Field and Stream event. The Field and Stream magazine was making a relaunch, and they were having an event, and I was going to be, my nose is so itchy today, and I was going to be a part of that event. And then and Morgan Wallen and Eric Church are the ones bringing, Field and Stream back, I think. And so I had been worried they were going to kick me off the show because I talk about how much I don't like Morgan Wallen, not as a person, but as a musician, and country musician specifically. I think his music's fine. But then they canceled the event altogether. At least that's what they're telling me. Either they canceled it altogether or I got kicked off and nobody wants to tell me. So now I feel like I can just criticize him whenever I want, but I already felt like I could. I don't think that's country either. I'm not into it. Yes, he has a country accent. Yeah, but it's just not country music to me. I think it'd be like Southern rock, even though, it's Southern rock that I wouldn't listen to. I feel like, he has this song called If I'm the Problem, I'm the Problem, whatever. That's his whole album. And what's interesting about it is that, a guy who seems to have all these problems and has been in so much trouble, he puts out an album after all of that called I'm the Problem. And you go, okay, a little acknowledgement that, hey, you're the one that's, causing all these issues for yourself. And then you listen to it, and that song is him going, if I'm the problem, maybe you're the reason. And it's like a song about his girlfriend, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm the problem, but you're the reason I'm the problem. And I'm not saying I don't get what he's saying. Listen, I've been in a relationship before where I'm like, yeah, I know I'm acting this way, but it's things that you're doing that's making me act this way. I've been there. But I just feel like it's a little bait and switch with calling it that. A little clickbait, getting a little clickbaity with the albums. I just am, I don't know, I'm just not sold on popular music these days. And I don't know. I'm always open. People do send me things. Sometimes I listen. Sometimes I forget. Somebody did send me a classical recommendation. And it's, let's see, because I talk about how there's a song called Bach Cello Suite Number 1. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it. Number 1, and it's the song when you listen to Yo-Yo Ma. It's that same cello song that you always hear. So whenever I listen to cello music, I might add a bunch of songs to a playlist, but I immediately delete that one from the playlist because I'm so sick of that song. It's like you type in cello music, that's the only thing that comes up. There is so much cello music out there. And cello is the best classical music to me. Because what I want most of the time when I'm trying to listen to classical music, what I want is truly relaxing music. The violin can be a little screechy for me. The piano can be a little ting, 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 ting for me. It's too much. And then other classical music where it's a full-on symphony can fire you up. It's not relaxing. It's not chill. So this cello is, and this is a guy named Pablo Casals. I would say that's C-A-S-A-L-S. Pablo, C-A-S-A-L-S. And it is a good rendition of, I would just say look up Pablo Casals Bach Cello Suites, and it's number 1. It's very good. A guy sent me an email. I've been getting a lot of emails, but I've been getting so many that it's a little hard to remember which ones I want to go back and try to read, which is too bad. But a guy sent me an email, said, I just started listening to your podcast, and I went pretty far back, and I saw that you were sharing a lot of music on there. And he's like, I'm looking to start a podcast, and I didn't know you could share music like that. And I was wondering if you have licensing for that. It kind of freaked me out because I'm like, this sounds like a spy. This sounds like some guy going, oh, yeah, I want to do this too, but I'm just wondering, how are you getting away with it? And I was like, listen, I don't do it anymore, and I definitely don't do it now that I'm on YouTube because I think you'll get flagged for everything. I get flagged for my intro song, which is why I had to change it. It was getting flagged every time, even though it's off a royalty-free website. But I was like, and this is the truth, though. I was like, the reason that I think it's okay is because I'm not making money off the podcast. Now that it's on YouTube, I am, I guess I'm drawing money from my YouTube being monetized, but I'm not selling things. And so if anything, I'm just telling people to go listen to this music. I think I'm doing them a favor. But I don't know if that's how they view it all the time. I know that's not how Bob Dylan viewed it, or at least his record label, when I try to use one of his songs on a video that I made on YouTube. Because I'm used to getting, when I use other people's music on YouTube, then I don't make any money off the video. It'll go to that record label. But which record labels are really the worst. They are the worst, these guys. They try to get involved in comedy now too, and I'm like, I really don't want any part of that. I'm like, what do you think that you can do for me that I can't do? It's like, it is the worst. I mean, like, I'm not saying comedy labels are the worst, but I'm saying the record labels in the music industry seem like the worst, and it's like they don't have their grip quite into comedy yet. But if they ever do, I think they're going to ruin it too. Because, I just feel like they find a musician that wants to play ball with whatever they're doing, and then they tell their musicians what they can write about, what they can't write about, and then they go, we're going to get you on the radio now. And then they get it on the radio, and then it's just crap on the radio. And I just feel like they're the worst. I don't want any part of that. I mean, unless one can tell me what they can do for me that I can't do for myself. That's why I like comedy. I like comedy because it's pretty independent. We can really do our own things. You got to, if you want to get on YouTube, if you want to get on Netflix, you're going to need somebody pulling some strings for you. And I do have good management, but you just don't, I don't know. I don't want a record label involved. I do have 4 albums now, and when Wet Heat, that will be a 5th. I'll have 5 comedy albums, and that feels pretty cool. I like albums. I'm old school. I like audio comedy, and so I think it's real fun to have these albums. I want to keep it coming. I got to get a few other things together. I'd like to do an album with the 5 o'clock somewhere. Because what I want is for people on Spotify. There's only 3 albums on there because I had a little issue, and I've been so busy with other things, I haven't tried to sort it out yet, but I am going to try to get it sorted out. But I just want people to be able to, go listen to all these jokes at any time on audio versions. I think that's really fun. I think comedy is best in audio form. I would say, I'm a little scattered today, but I would say it's best live. Live, to me, is number one. There is no touching live comedy. There's no touching it. There's never a better way to watch comedy than live. But second is audio. And I would say third is video. Because there's something about video. I had a Mitch Hedberg album, Strategic Grill Locations, that I used to listen to all the time. I loved it so much. I had no idea what Mitch Hedberg looked like. And when I finally saw him, it somehow ruined it for me. I can't explain it. It didn't ruin it for me. I still enjoy him and I still like him. But I can listen to Mitch Hedberg better than I can watch him. And I think some people are like that about me. They'll go, I can't watch this guy. I'm getting dizzy watching him move around the stage. And listen, I get it. We all got little things. If comedians were all perfect, then we probably wouldn't be comics. We'd be doing something else. I'd be still selling pesticides, or I'd be manager of a restaurant, or I would have gone to college, or I would have pursued a trade. I'd be welding right now. I wish I would have learned to weld. My dad knows how to weld. I wish my dad would teach me, but I can't get yelled at that much. I'll have to pay someone to teach me, because by the time my dad got done yelling at me, teaching me to weld, I wouldn't want to weld anymore. I'd put on a welding mask and I'd just hear yelling. You ever weld with your dad? My dad would weld all this really heavy metal together. He would weld a lot of fence posts, and he was always welding something together. And I was never a very strong kid. And I'd be holding something, And my dad would also be holding it. And then I'd pull the welding mask down and I couldn't see. And then my dad would let go of the heavy thing, and it would be so much heavier to me that it felt like now my dad was pushing it down. So I would be letting it go down like, okay, he's telling me to push it down, so I'm going to push it down. And then he would be yelling at me, and then I'd lift it up and I'd go, you're not pushing down. And it was, it's hard to weld. And I also would get shocked sometimes by my dad welding, and then sparks would be flying up and hitting me. And but I do wish I knew how to do it. I know you got to get some kind of little clamp, and you hold a little piece of metal, and you melt that metal, and it forms a bond between the other two pieces of metal. Pretty sure that's what's going on. Just a brief description of welding. But yeah, this weekend, Biloxi, Mississippi. Next weekend, Auburn, Alabama. It's actually a Thursday, but Auburn, Alabama is where I'll be. Those shows are going to be great. All my shows from here on out are going to be great. This is what I'm thinking about. I put out a Netflix pretty fast after my other one. Wet Heat came out pretty fast after The Working Man. And honestly, I feel like I could have recorded Wet Heat a lot faster than that. I was ready to go. I was ready to go months before we recorded. We just had to find the right spot. I don't think I'm going to do that now. I want to sit on some jokes for a while. I already got an hour and 20. I want to start working some of those out of the rotation, working in some others. I want to really build it up. And maybe I'll do like I did this last time. When I released Working Man, I also released an album called Crockpot Comedy, which is a little more rough around the edges, a bit more rough of a recording, but some really good jokes that I like. And maybe I'll just start doing that because, I don't know if this is true, but I've probably told it on this podcast 1,000 times, but my friend said that Neil Young would release an album like the one that Old Man was on, where everybody really liked it and it was very well produced. He would release that album, and then, almost immediately after that, he would release another album that was more rough around the edges, and in some people's eyes, not as good, but in other people's eyes, that was his best work. I kind of want to just get enough material to do that sort of thing to where I can release a couple, one a little more rough around the edges, because I think that's fun, where I can record in a club. I love clubs. I'm going to do some more clubs. The Field and Stream got canceled, so I am going to do the Hartford Funny Bone. I think it's in Manchester, Connecticut, just outside of Hartford. That's going to be the replacement date. And I'm going to try to work in more clubs when I can. I am enjoying the theaters, but I love clubs. I think there is some grittiness and funness about being in the club. And I want to be up in there because I want to make sure my jokes are real tight. So that's where I'm at with it. And I feel good. We're in the new house now, and we're still working on getting rid of the old house. We've not been able to go out to the cabin lately, so I don't know what's going on out there. Probably caving in on me. But I want to get out there. We may be looking to rent the cabin. I don't know. If you know anybody in McMinnville looking for a place, hit me up. But I don't know yet. I don't know what we're going to do, but this house that we moved into has about 3 acres on it, and I got a pretty good-sized garden here where I feel like I'm going to need to get busy here, and I'm just not going to have the time to make those trips. So I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out, but it's good problems. Life's good. I appreciate you guys. We're having a good time.